Aloha kakiaka kako.
Aloha.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dennis Guy Hui. I'm from Kianai, and I'm Lalao Lapa'au. I'm a medicinal healer. I'm here to share you my thoughts on this matter pertaining to our county leadership and Maui emergency response management. I'm not here to point finger, blame, or accuse, but I want them to be aware and mindfulness. Okay, I consider Maui County leadership and Maui emergency response management a failure to the Kula and Lahaina wildfire, because there's three issues that I'm still considering yet. There was red flag warning conditions on August 7th and no precautionary procedures in place. No public warning of any kind, okay? And over 100 dead, right? As a Lapa'au healer, I ask everyone to focus on your energy in building back now. And be aware of scams and corruption. E hui o Lapa'au. We're gathered as healers. E hui ai Lapa'au. We gather for healing. Yeah. E Hawaii, e Aloha. So my closing testament, I want to share you something that I also share with my students as well, even with the CEO, or even with my church members. Okay, it's called mantra meditation. Some of you heard this, but it works. Okay, the reason why we make so much pilikia is that we clog our mind with fear, with all kind. Okay, so I want everybody to do this exercise and see if it works. Breathe in deep, then gradually exhale slow. Okay, and do it again. But this time, feel if you can feel that breath coming out. If you cannot, then you are stressed, you are tension. What happens when you think on a job? You're gonna make mistake, you're gonna fail. Okay, that's lao lapa'au. It's time to do something else. Then come back and continue. Our mind is like the surface of the ocean. We have two minds, the surface mind and a deep mind. So if we got so much involved in a surface mind where it's moving, okay, it's time to go back to yourself. Breathe in, exhale. Okay, so that I share you, it's good, it works.
Council members, my name is John Kinimaka. I just wanted to clear some things up because, about the pointing of fingers. I had a fireman friend of mine tell me that I need to get accurate information. So he sent me a message, and I'd like to share that with you. The fire in the morning wasn't raging, so yes, sometimes we don't use sirens in the early morning out of respect for the people sleeping. No one needed to be evacuated, and we got there. The fire was contained in the morning. It was out, but there's still many smoldering spots. I don't know if smoldering means it's out, but which the crew stayed there till 2, trying to clean it up the best they could, dumping as much water as possible. Being that there were multiple fires going on throughout the island, those crews stayed. They stayed there. Truex came and cut dozer lines around the fire to ensure it was contained. Obviously, it wasn't. I left that morning when I was living on Lahaina Luna Road with my friend Ann that lost her home. And at 5 in the morning, I felt the heavy, heavy gust of wind while I was sitting in my car getting ready to leave. And not very long after, I did witness the fire department going up without any warning of sirens to let us know that the possible danger. I wasn't there to experience what many people had experienced. I was north trying to get power, not knowing that my town was burning down. I want to share this with my friend Kirk Bose. Posted this on my Facebook page. We left our home after we decided to leave on our own at the bottom of Lahaina Luna neighborhood. No sirens, no police or firemen, just left on our own because it was getting scary smoky. Made it out to Lahaina Luna Road through the fire, barely escaped. One cop at the intersection waving us into town. Wouldn't allow us to turn either north or south on the highway. Got trapped by the outlet mall trying to turn north on Front Street. Meanwhile, the one policeman at the old chart house turns out was not allowing cars out at all. They had no plan, no communication, no preparation, no common sense either. Nearly killed us twice. Drove, then ran south down Front Street while people at Outlet Mall jumped into the water, embers blowing under the car. Made it to 505, then 10 minutes later, it all started burning. It's a miracle we are alive. I'm not pissed at the police or firemen. They did the best they could as people, but they are understaffed, underpaid, under-equipped, and poorly led, trained, and prepared for a real emergency. Also, I have a friend that was working at Puamana and nobody evacuated her. She decided that the smoke was getting really bad, and she was there at the south end of Front Street, was denied access to go south where she would have been safe, was directed by the police to turn around and head back to the death trap in Lahaina. She made it to the south or the north end of Front Street, where she was gridlocked after making it through a maze of gridlock to the end or the north end of Front Street, turned back around towards Puamana. By the time she got back to the other end on the south side of Puamana, the police weren't there. Apparently they wouldn't let anybody through because the power lines were down, but at the same time, there were still vehicles coming from Wailuku towards Lahaina. Another thing I'd like to share is that about tourists and them wanting to reopen Lahaina. We don't need tourists helping, as we showed how our community can provide for our own community without government aid from day one. Tourists should stay away from West Maui. We still have to find the missing. We need to house the displaced. We need to process. We still need to grieve. We need to heal. We still need to find out what went wrong. We need to make a geographical restriction on all car rentals from cruising over to the west side. We still need to prepare for and work on plans and prevention for the next potential disaster. Every government action and inaction since the fire has been a complete failure. We need to stop these government failures at some point. Now is the time. Mahalo.
Hello, I'm Ann Williams, and I lived at 457 Lahaina Luna Road. And I definitely encourage this whole fire to be investigated further, not only for just legislation, but just on a criminal level. I'll just tell you my story. I lived right there, about 3 blocks where the fires were going off. I immediately knew there was a fire because I'd been watching it personally, but didn't even have time to get into the car and drive. The roads were already blocked. My driveway, I wouldn't have even been able to get out of my driveway if I wanted to. Luckily, my key actually broke when I tried to get in, and so I had to run down. But thank you, God, that was my saving grace. If I was in my car listening to all the policemen that were out there, I would have been dead, like most of my other friends and relatives. Ran down to Lahaina Luna Road, got down to the light. Luckily, I found my daughter down there in her truck, so I did get into a vehicle at that point. We're being blocked right there. Couldn't go anywhere by a police officer. But we were one of the smarter people, disobeyed the cops. I just went down. We had to go down Front Street in order to save ourselves. I had a whole family in my car, including the 2-year-old. There was no way I was going to sit there and listen to this cop telling us to stay put. Went down Front Street, total mess, so many cars. I mean, we're looking at 10,000 people trying to get out right away, all at the same time in the tiny little streets of Lahaina. Everybody being forced to Front Street, not being able to drive on the highway because there were some power lines down in that immediate area. We went through Safeway parking lot, saw the power lines there, so we ended up going out. Finally, we did escape out the Fleming's chart house exit to go north. We went north. Free sailing at that point after Fleming's got out there. They hadn't blockaded us yet. I was one of the lucky few that got out that way. No power lines whatsoever. It was a safe exit. all the way north, and we got to Honokawai that way. After me, though, they decided to block it. And there was still no power lines down because I did come out the next morning and I saw the death trap. It was where there were no power lines still yet the following morning. Everybody could have gotten out. Everybody could have gone out. It was free sailing going north. But the police officer there, quote unquote, from direct other residents who talked to him, were walking, saw all the cars stopped. He finally walked all the way up to the front at the exit, policeman standing there. And the guy said to the policeman, "There's a fire. The fire is coming. You got to let these people go. I've got orders." We need to investigate that. Who is giving these cops orders? I mean, the police officer might be taking orders. It's not his fault personally, but there's somebody above him that did this, and they need to investigate that. And then John said the far end of Front Street was blocked, bringing him in that way, and then blocked this way. It's obvious we were intentionally trapped, and I hope that this gets investigated further. And I have the eyewitnesses who have spoken to that cop directly.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Williams. Before you go, I just wanted to clarify, the purpose for a council investigation would be for legislation to be written. There is other investigations going on.
Oh, that's
the
good.
Attorney General, that thing that I read in the beginning, they could find criminal liability, but that's not, I just wanted to clarify, that's not anything that.
Yeah, I kind of realized that when I got here this morning. That's what more of your point. But for everything,
Yeah.
I wanted to share that, all that information, so that you can do what you need to do for your legislation, and hopefully it helps the criminal investigation as well.
Okay, next up, Dick Mayer, go ahead.
Good morning, and I want to thank you for taking up this very important matter and getting legislation and getting us prepared for future potential disasters. I noticed in your resolution that you have 4 departments of the county mentioned. I would urge you to add the following: the water department to that list. They can do a lot of things in preparation, everything from preparing reservoirs to make sure the pipes are not plastic, et cetera, et cetera. And I think they should be included. The second one is the planning department. I've long urged the county to develop a comprehensive GIS system that will allow us to have all the information coordinated on one set of maps, rather than, as we now have, dispersed among many departments. Every department, the police department, the management office, the planning department, they each have their own GIS system. We need to develop one coordinated GIS system. So I would urge you to put that on the agenda as well as a part of it, the coordination of information that will allow good dissemination of communications later on. And lastly, I would urge you to consider, even though it's not a government agency, it is regulated by the government, and that is Maui Electric. The role of the power lines and causing the fire, et cetera, I think should be part of this investigation, and hopefully maybe be able to coordinate the legislation along with the PUC to make sure that we have the necessary prevention measures. The second thing I wanted to say was, I think you should think of this as 2 phases. One is, let's find out what happened, and whether it's blame that's needed or just a discovery of issues that we're not adequately prepared for, et cetera. And the second part is find out what we need to do to prevent anything like this ever to happen again. And think of it in those 2 separate phases, and I think that's important. Lastly, I think we should focus on this wildfire and doing everything we can to prevent it from happening again, but also consider that we also have several other equally, maybe even more significant potential disasters, namely the hurricanes, earthquakes. Maui has had an earthquake in 1938. Tsunami, certainly, we know about, flooding. That whatever we do, we don't put all our eggs in just stopping damage from wildfires and shortchange prevention of these other disasters. And so I hope you keep that in mind, and maybe the degree to which we can develops disaster prevention, disaster initiatives. We can do it for all of the disasters, not just wildfires. I think that will be important in the long run because they're all threats to us and they're all different. The transportation issues, the water, the responses after the disaster, all of that are all different. We need to have a very robust plan. But let me just remind you that the FEMA office has every 5 years prepared a master plan to handle disasters. And certainly a big question will be what in that plan is good and what we need to throw out so that we can handle it. It's a 1,000-page document that was prepared a year or two ago. 5 years before that, it was also prepared. My feeling was, and having worked on the committee trying to write that thing, that plan gets prepared, but nobody feels that they have to implement it. So I think you'll find a lot of good material there. Thank you.
My name's Jeffrey Stephen of the House of Jarrett. Now you put a face with a name. I am the one that sues this group, and I'm holding you accountable. And the reason being, legislation will not bring back the dead nor the harm. There are hundreds of people that are not allowed onto their property except strangers through the EPA are sifting through their sacred property and sacred ground, and they are not being investigated. This same material is then removed from the site and supposedly being sent to the mainland. That should be of high concern to you, because if this chamber, who addressed this same issue in 2018, is allowing people from out of our country, the nation of Hawaii or the state of Hawaii, to abscond this information, because I guarantee you, none of you know exactly what's responsible for this fire. None of you do. And because of that, it's a crime scene. And if it's a crime scene and they're removing the product or spraying product on it, the EPA spraying product on it, and then they're removing product from it, you don't know if it's an accelerant from chemtrails, whatever those things are, or if it was malfeasance by the electrical department, Hawaii Electric, Maui Electric, same company, or if it's malfeasance by maladministration, because I, as a builder, I'm licensed in electrical, plumbing, general contracting. I'm licensed to remove asbestos, toxic metals, and lead. And I can guarantee you, I have seen pictures of these people doing their thing, and they are not in hazmat suits that qualify for them to remove lead from a house, let alone toxic waste. Yet they are. You don't know what is going on. And they're basically, because of that, it's a crime scene, and they are manipulating, taking material from it. Under Title 18, USC 4, malfeasance and a form of fraud. You now know that this has gone on, and because of that, you must do an estoppel immediately so you can have a true investigation from outside sources that are not from someone that, whether it's a directed energy weapon or chemicals coming down or the electrical department not having the correct size poles up, or the administration not demanding that it's done right, or this group not demanding it's done right. You have a responsibility, not just to me. I come in the name of Yeshua. You have a responsibility before God. You're going to all account before a living God. And trust me, you see the scar on my face? I died at the age of 15 months. I drowned at the age of 3. I've had other things that have happened. I know the other side exists. So please, for the children's sake that did not get to speak because they were incinerated, investigate this whole thing. Have an estoppel, go in immediately, take information out so you can find out exactly who, what, and how it actually happened, so it doesn't happen again.
Thank you.
All right. Mario Vendetti, representing Pu'olai on Kauai. And if this council wanted to solve any issues, you'd be listening to all the issues. Because if you want investigations, we need investigations into the water department. We need investigations into the police. Why, when we had 2 qualified sheriffs that were local, Did we go hire a sheriff coming out of a scandal out of Las Vegas, placing him in power? Not only that, giving him a 20% raise. What's that about? And my friends are getting chained into the Lahaina Luna, back into the fire, by these police brought from Vegas. I want an investigation into the governor. The governor is in charge of all this. And I want to know why the land hasn't been tested. Why am I, a citizen out of Hana, Kauai, having to try to get private tests on water and land? Because nobody in our government will help us. The only person's Gabe Johnson. That's the only person I got respect for. And you silencing people when they're talking about real issues. We have water that's given us leukemia. I am probably already infected with benzene and gonna have leukemia, because from day one, I've been doing runs into Lahaina Luna, into Hawaiian Homes, into Waikuli, covered in the dust. I have nowhere to clean myself off. It's just benzene water cleaning me off. I'm breathing that in all day long because the county's not out there helping the people. So I'm developing a water transport system for me out. I've got flatbed trucks coming, 1,000-gallon tanks, 300-gallon water buffaloes in each neighborhood, because nobody that was elected to take care of the people is helping. We weren't getting supplies from the county. We had to call in our brothers and sisters from other islands, from Kihei. I had to call my friends that were captains of pack whaleboats, getting them to bring supplies. I didn't see one official. I set up a communication post in the Times parking lot because that was the safest place: food, water options, restrooms, concrete area. I didn't see one official for 48 hours. And then when they did come, when the police did show up, they came to disperse our communication post when we had no information, no communication. And so I hold all of you responsible, most specifically the governor.
Aloha kakayaka kako again. I'm here this morning just to tell you guys that I support a full investigation into this, even though it's just for legislative action. But I believe what could help is if you have the Attorney General here to get to the issues. I hear you guys are planning to do a meeting like this, a public meeting with the committee in Lahaina. I believe you guys better get ready for that. I believe you guys got to get ready for that meeting. There's going to be a lot of riveting testimony about people's experience of what happened. But I'm more here for a reason. I'm here because I asked the representatives of the Pu'uhonua at Hana Kauai. We're having an issue with keeping up the water supply. A lot of people are coming there because they need water. So if we could somehow get help from the county to come and help to come and check on our water supply, help to replenish our water supply at the Pu'uhonua. Also, the water test that Mario's run on the water that we have. Ultimately, I'm looking at the water tester that he has. It's a little outdated, I see. If somebody could come down there and test the water. Kids are taking a shower, they're jumping into the ocean, they're taking a shower, they're washing their hands, using the restroom over there and stuff like that. You know, we even have like a water filtering system going there. I believe somebody got to come out and check out the water. This is issues that's going on right now. okay? You talk about an investigation. Ultimately, people are trying to live normal lives. We're lucky. We live on this side. We live in Central. You know, things are semi-normal here. Once you cross into Lahaina, it's a different world. Councilmember Paulton, I've been following all of her work at Napili Noho. They're doing a great job. You know, I believe Honokowai needs a little assistance too. They're doing a great job there. They're helping to keep up morale of a lot of people who's going through tough issues in this time. There's a lot of frustration. And like I said, if you guys plan this meeting in Lahaina, get ready for more riveting conversation. And I hope you guys don't shut down what people have to say. This is their way to vent to you guys. You guys could get good information. I believe you guys can get in touch with the Attorney General. Have her be there. Have her be there in the meeting. Then we don't have to go to this, oh, you're not supposed to say this or you're not supposed to say that. We want to just let it out and let you guys know. I come here because I care about Lahaina. I don't come here for any other reason than that. And I ask you guys for your help with our water supply at Honokowai, please. Okay? If you guys can send a truck with some water down there to get our supply up, you know, if you can get in touch with Uncle John or something like that, that's what I ask from you guys. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day. God bless you guys all. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Gomes. Councilmember Sinensi has a question for you.
Mahalo, Mr. Gomes. Just for clarification, this is going up to the river, the Kahawai the valley?
Where Times Supermarket stay. You take a left by Times, and it's at the Honokowai Beach Park. It's Pu'uhonua now. A lot of displaced people.
Right.
There's also entertainment on the weekends. Today, John Cruz and Irie Love is going to be playing. If you guys are interested, come on down and check it out. But a lot of aloha over there.
Mahalo.
Thank you.
Speaking on my own behalf. First, I don't think staff should be interrupting testifiers. I think if anything, the chair would be the one to do that. And I have noticed that chairs of committees have been really good about giving people a lot of leeway, which I think is appropriate in the wake of a really bad disaster. And I've seen that from Nohe, Tasha, I think Tom Cook. So that's really good. So, and I think people appreciate it. And if they need to vent, then just let them vent. But really, a lot of things could be relevant and should be relevant when we're considering it. So, I want to encourage an investigation that's done not 100% or 99% in an executive session, because I think this information needs to go to the public, and the people are really they're hungry for information, and in the absence of information, there's conspiracy theories, and I think that's not helpful. And openness is really good. And what I really don't want to happen is what happened with that Spire assessment, which was rather than investigation by the council or an open body, it was done by a company that was contracted for a lot of money. And in that instance, staff from Ziad said that they were basically raising the alarm to the investigators about a lot of issues, and it ended up being glossed over or put in terms where it wasn't clear to the public. There's actual corruption described in that report, and it basically flew under the radar. So I mean, an open investigation that is actually looking for the actual causes and, not necessarily assigning blame, but looking for structural causes of this disaster. I mean, it's important for the entire community and moving forward and making improvements in the future.
My name is Lisa Darcy. Appreciate the time to be here. I'm the founder of Share Your Mana, and a council or a commissioner on healing solutions for homelessness, and I'm here to testify on my own behalf. The legislation is going to, of course, be very important. It will connect a lot of the dots that are not connected, which we all know are connected. My testimony today is really a challenge, I think, to this body and to us as a community. And one of the most dramatic pieces of this puzzle that I always find somehow gets kind of pushed to the side is really our attitudes towards the laws and our following up. And I know Councilmember Senensi knows the drive that Share Your Mana has, that every resident have water on the island. That it isn't a socioeconomic need. And the legislation where, to support this really also has to come from your heart and your mind, knowing the right thing to do. There's not really a lot of legislation that governs our mana and where we really put our energy. It's really up to you to find the ways to make the law work for everyone and make communication work for everyone. What you will find in this investigation is so many people are not connected to standard ways of getting information. And so they wouldn't get the information. Like if you're disabled and or elderly, low education, you may not have all the resources that other people have to get the information. And we have to put that into the legislation as well. It's got to work for everyone and not just a handful of people. And so my testimony today is really to urge you to go beyond even what you find in the reports and to recognize how important it is that every resident needs the basic fundamentals, the basic supports of life. And where you don't see that in your report, to try and find a way to make it so that every one of our people here, not my people, the people who live here, have safety, have access to getting out of a difficult situation, and more importantly, so more people don't fall into the cycle. I just want to say thank you. I just want to also acknowledge, I heard some of the earlier testimony about transportation and how fundamental this is for people moving from space to space when there is an emergency, and to please consider how important transportation is. And I was once rewarded in doing a really good job at my job by being pushed out. And so I think your legislation has to really acknowledge when somebody is actually doing something that's right, to support that person and not push them out. So you have a big job. Any way that I can help, I'm here. Mahalo.
Aloha tomorrow. I can see Auntie Alice. I think that's Uncle Senesi, Cousin U'u, that you gave. Mr. Cook.
He just stepped out.
Aloha.
On 8/8, we were monitoring the frequencies here on Oahu. We were told at 9 o'clock that the fire was contained. The weather here in Oahu was honking. If any of you know what's the word honking, it's akin to if you have ever listened to the NOAA weather station, where the highest winds are always from Ma'alaia Harbor. I didn't believe what I heard. Called my two sisters and I says, you guys need to find out where your families are at, stay close to home. In the afternoon, we intercepted U.S. Coast Guard reports that they were dispatched to Lahaina to retrieve or pluck individuals. By the way, Auntie Alice, I would like a FOIA request to find out what did they really see, okay? When we heard that dispatch, we knew something was wrong tomorrow. We set up a board on the wall and had every intel that was coming out to find out what was going on. Didn't sleep till 2 o'clock in the morning. And then in Wednesday morning, we see our Uncle Richie Olsen fly with his helicopter. I don't know, by the way, Auntie Alice, was it rogue or did he have permission? Nonetheless, thank you, Uncle Richie, because our worst nightmares came true. Right, Auntie Alice? Our worst nightmares came true. To you on the council, When you look at the State Civil Defense website, tell me if I'm wrong. The Maui County representative to the State Civil Defense Advisory Council, now called HIEMA, has been absent for quite a long time. I was your representative from the events of 9/11 to the preparations for APEC. We have been wronged. The Lahaina people have been wronged tomorrow. Siren, no siren. It's on the all hazards list. Road not blocked. TITV OQE shows this was blocked. Falling down fires, poles. Put the blame. Electricity was out, ECO says. They caused the second one, not the first one. But today, the Republican-led House Committee has called, Energy and Commerce Committee has called a hearing for September 28. When Congress has a problem, they create a commission tomorrow. Got ATF out there. Got every alphabet soup agency that's out there. And for all the idiots, that say there's no such thing as directed energy, I want all of you to go and visit the Air Force Research Laboratory at the Maui High Performance Computing Center that you guys allow. Trust me, there's a lot of things going on you don't know. When I told them the president's coming to Maui, they laughed. When I told them the Speaker of the House is coming, they laughed. Well, you know what? We cannot take care of our people, then we're going to have somebody come from the outside that perhaps not Democrat to do the right thing. Tomorrow, our people deserve better. From Launiopoku to Wahikuli to Puamana.
Morning, you guys can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. Investigating. First thing first, investigate the emergency department, the one that Herman Andaya when resigned. Yeah, go investigate those guys. Yeah, I guess he was not here and whatnot, and they never know what they was going to do and this and that, and so go investigate them. I know earlier part one testifier said, "Are we ready if we had something like this happen again tomorrow?" I say, heck no. So investigate that department, get them ready, make sure they're ready for this again. You gotta remember, Lahaina's too dry as shit. Oh, my bad. Too dry. And so let's get ready, let's prepare. So investigate those emergency preparedness, whatever kind of guys, whatever. Investigate, I want to see on plenty of times so I don't get caught off. Investigate the departments, okay, in the government, whoever will block the roads from going to Lahaina and opening up the roads and then closing the roads and then opening up the roads and then opening them up to tourists. They're going to investigate those guys that will screw up everything from the beginning. Yeah, you guys heard my statement about it. We was trying to get supplies into Lahaina people, but they're getting blocked and turned around. So go investigate those guys. I guess they're the EOC. Because you're planning letters and everything you guys do, so I get confused. So go investigate that. Biggest one, go investigate the water department. Yeah, everybody talking about the Maui Electric and all that stuff. Yeah, they don't mind whatever and stop the fire. But go investigate the water department. You know, our country. Ukele, your place. How much time you gotta shut down the water because they're not safe to drink before the fire? Yeah. One brother got let go because he didn't go whistleblow about that kind of stuff that's happening in the water department. And then he won his case and he's back working. Go investigate the water department. Go investigate the quality of the water, the pipes, the hygiene, the water hygiene, who get the water, you know. Go investigate the water department. Go investigate who owns 75% of the water in Lahaina and the public only owns 25. Go investigate all that. And then we can prepare to make our Lahaina safer by making them greener. You know, I got educated that it used to be a small wetland. I knew Lahaina Maui Island was one water place, you know, was swamp or whatever. But yeah, go investigate the water department. And I'm gonna finish off. I'm gonna finish up right now. I'm not gonna get schoolings again. So yeah, go investigate the guys who blocked the road, the EOC guys that would screw up everything, open, close. Go investigate the water department, so we flood whatever again. And I think that lady Sarah, the one got caught, maybe we'll talk story some more because water is a big issue and availability of like Kamala said, water is needed at the house. I'm gonna bring down at least 15 cases to S. Stearns, and I'm gonna see how much more I can grab boat wrap and take them down to Honolulu. Yes, sir. My bad.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes. You know, I just turned on because I had another commitment at 9:00, and I'm not sure if we're plugged into a certain topic, but I do feel moved to say this, that I'm very, very grateful for all of you folks and all the work you're doing, from all the county workers to all our officials to the state of Hawaii, because you know what? This was an unreal event. Nobody was prepared because nobody knew it was going to turn into such a huge fire. And that wind, the wind, that was the thing that broke the lines. That, to me, that's what started the fires. It was all over the place. My son lost his home. Their family, their whole family lost their homes. Everybody lost their homes. But it's done. Now we got to go forward. And the bickering, the calling names, the pointing fingers, it's nobody's fault. It happened. And we wasn't prepared. Who is ever prepared for something this huge? Our resources is limited. So we don't have plenty trucks and plenty water trucks, and it just came so fast. The wind just went, blow everything. Roofs were down, lines were down. Even if the people were working, when they couldn't have controlled this fire either. Let's be real, and let's come together and work and to thank those who put their okoles on the line, who are still doing it. Guys are still not sleeping, and to point fingers and blame. You can imagine all the hard work everybody doing and still being accused of not doing their job. I just have to say this, that I'm very proud of you folks, because I know you're working hard. You've never had to do this before. None of the officials had to do this before. And it's day and night they're working and trying to figure out, because as you move along, you're finding out all the other things that have to happen, what has to go into place. So please, be kind to one another. Help. No point fingers and say, you should have done, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But help by not creating a fire within our county, within our state. Mahalo, and I thank you folks all. And we would be nothing without you folks. Mahalo, mahalo, and mahalo.
I've heard all the testimonies, and I thank everybody for all of their stories. My sister-in-law Ann, Cora, Mr. Stephen, Mr. Gomes, and it just so touches my heart every day, listening to all of the stories of the Lahaina people, of what was taken from them, especially our kupunas, our families, our cousins, our children. An investigation needs to go on. It needs to happen. It does need to happen, and I beg all of you to please move forward. Think about the kupunas, our tutukanes, tutuwahinis, our keikis, our mo'opunas as yours. What they need today, they need your help. They're screaming, they're crying each and every day. As I drive home, I drive to work, I hear it all the time. I can hear their cries. I work in the medical field. I see children every day. I see adults every day. And I cry for them. I hear their stories. We treat the first responders, we treat the people of Lahaina. And to sit there and to listen to them, their stories, I cry. I cannot say I know how you feel. I know what you went through. All I can do is be there, be an ear, and just malama pono. So I beg each and every one of you, please, please, from the bottom of my pu'uai, please be there for the people. We Maui no koi. The fire started, if you look at our island, on the head. They took our head away. But you know what? We're going to rebuild our head, no matter what, for our ancestors who is screaming out to fix the head. That's where our Aina starts from. Mahalo.
Aloha and good morning, and thank you, mahalo, for having this meeting, and forgive me if I cry. Condolences to all the families who've lost souls. And I'm here today to testify in favor of investigation and to urge all committees to do what they can within legislature to gain resources for the right positions and the right within the state and within the counties. I agree with Dick Mayer. FEMA does have a 5-year plan. It comes out every 5 years. It's 1,000 pages. There is no statewide or countywide GIS system. That being said, there is no statewide system in place for many things with regards to disaster control, prevention, process improvement, search and rescue. There's a whole umbrella. I had a presentation. I will make sure that the committee gets it. There's an umbrella that falls under search and rescue. As it stands now, a lot of those areas have been ignored for many years. This is not a current issue. This is a systematic issue for many years and many administrations. Change is hard, and unfortunately, it doesn't occur until it is forced upon us. And we are in a position now to create good processes, good controls, and a lot of prevention. One of the testifiers mentioned Kihei. If something happened tomorrow, there's no way out of Kihei. This is not unlike many areas and many counties on all of our islands, right? So, you know, I've worked in data collection for years. I'm a strategist, and I have been looking for data for the state for about 5 years. There's a lack of data. I have a whole root cause analysis done that I will share with you guys. And what I have found is that it always comes down to resources. So whether it is the emergency control system, the speakers, the water, this, that, it comes down to resources. The federal government has opened doors for our state and our county to ask for resources. So it's important that we do that. But we need to ask for the right stuff. My presentation starts with, we don't know what we don't know, and it ends with, the more we know, the more we realize we don't know. And that is where we're at right now. The last thing I'd like to say is to please remember what Hawaii is built on, and that is the spirit of aloha. And one day, the world is going to come to Hawaii to be healed, and they're going to see how Maui healed from this horrific event. We will heal. Thank you for your time.